Fresh off the heels of the PlayStation 5 Pro specs reveal in addition to a release date, Insider Gaming has now learned that PlayStation's new Spectral Super Resolution, also known as PSSR, will be first integrated into the PlayStation 5 Pro and is internally aiming for 4K 120 frames per second and 8K 60 frames per second for console gaming. Oh, and get this, PSSR doesn't hog up your memory either. It only needs about 250 megabytes, so you'll still have plenty of space for all of your games. Outlined in documents that were provided to Insider Gaming under the condition that the documents were not made public, PlayStation's ambitions with their Spectral Super Resolution is to achieve those resolutions, and while those targets are not possible due to hardware limitations, it is the internal goal for PSSR in the future for console iterations. The PlayStation 5 Pro PSSR currently supports 3840 by 2160 and is aiming for 4K 60 frames per second and 8K 30 frames per second, but it's not clear if those milestones can be passed. PSSR memory requirements is roughly at about 250 megabytes, as I mentioned, 180 megabytes from the PSML library, and 64 megabytes from the game. In 2 case studies for 2 unnamed first-party games, the results were as follows. In the first game, the target was to add image quality close to fidelity mode 1800p with performance mode FPS at 60 frames per second. The results were on the standard PS5, performance mode was achieved at 1080p at 60 frames per second, while fidelity mode was achieved at 1800p at 30 frames per second. On the PlayStation 5 Pro, the results were 1440p at 60 frames per second utilizing PSSR. In the second game, the target was to add ray tracing to the gameplay, and the results were as follows. On the standard PlayStation 5, it was achieved at 60 frames per second without ray tracing, and the PlayStation 5 achieved 60 frames per second with ray tracing turned on. So there it is, ray tracing brought to the table without sacrificing any performance, which is quite impressive. What are your thoughts on PlayStation's new Spectral Super Resolution? Let us know down in the comments below. Smash that like button, keep it locked to InsiderGaming.com for further updates, and don't forget to subscribe to Insider Gaming to get the latest exclusive information.